Hello, everybody. My name is Kamar, and today we'll be reviewing our third episode of Season 3 of Bubble Guppies. Season 3, Episode 3, The Elephant Trunkadunk. In this episode, Gil's looking for elephants. He's in for a treat when the Guppies see the Trunkadunk, a basketball game played by pachyderms. With the game on the line, Gil needs to help Pinnacle, the littlest elephant, score the deciding point. Now, this episode, I really like it mainly because I like elephants. Maybe because I like elephants. I really like that. It's just really... Elephants are one of my favorite animals. They really are. Honestly, I like any animal. I'm an animal lover. I'm literally a Fluttershy. I will love any animal no matter how dangerous it is. Well, with some exceptions. But, our episode starts where, Molly is swimming to school, and she still sees Gil, and he says that he's looking for elephants, and I like her face when she's like, elephants, and then Gil has like a book that shows her what an elephant looks like, and he at first he sees two rocks that look pretty convincing that looks like elephants from the back, a mama and a baby, but then they start to hear a trumpeting noise, and they swim closer, and it turns out it's a little crab playing with this trumpet, and his name's actually Brendan, and he's really funny. He's like, my mom told me to practice outside. It's really funny. And Gil's really disappointed, wishing that he actually saw an elephant. And what Molly does to cheer him up is really sweet. They both pretend to be elephants on their way to school. And when they get into the classroom, Nancy Grouper said, wow, it looks like we have some pachyderms visiting today. And my girl Dean was like, pack a what? And then sweet little Nani, of course saying what something means. Pachyderms is another way of elephants, and they're explaining how they thought they saw an elephant a few minutes ago. And Una says that from experience she saw an elephant at the zoo once, and it was really big. And Mr. Grouper reveals that elephants are the largest animals that live on land. And then we have our question segment about what do elephants have, like a trunk, what do they do? And then we have our pop song, Ellie Ellie Elephant, which it's a really addictive song. I like it, especially at the beginning. It's just really catchy, like, yeah, I'm on a safari from the east to the west, 'cause from Africa to Asia, you're the one I like the best. From the dusty Serengeti to the jungles on our way in the palm. From your tongues to your tails, you're the animal that's got it all. And I like how Goofy says, pachyderms represent. I like that. And then she's like, 'cause we're living in large with the elephants. And I really like the ending. It's so sweet. Like, they said the elephants never forget. I know it's true, so I will never forget you. I really like that, because it's true. Elephants never forget. And then we have our shop segment with Dima, and I want to say this place is like a toy store, some sort of like a toy store. I mean, I kind of give a bit of the vibe of Toys R Us a little bit, which is kind of ironic because the mascot of Toys R Us is a giraffe, and Dima is dressed as a giraffe in this segment, so it kind of makes sense. And then Una, she wants something to snuggle with, and Dima gives her a plushie of an elephant because that's what she wants, and she says that elephant looks a little bit mixed up. And then we have to help her figure out what's wrong with the elephant, and we even know about like facts about elephants, like their big ears and their trunks. There's also like, it reminds me of like this toy brand from back in the 80s and 90s. I don't know what it's called. I forgot the name, but it had like different hybrid elephants. I mean, not elephants, different hybrid animals. I forgot what the names of the toy brand was. I'll look it up after the video and I'll put the name on it, but I remember my mom remembers these toys. These toys. She remembers seeing them around like the toy store and stuff. But yeah. And then we have our lunch segment, and Nani got elephant surprised. And I like how Gil's reaction is basically everybody else's who first saw this part of the episode. He's like, looks like regular soup to me. And then an elephant trunk literally comes out of the soup, and he's like, surprise. And that's the second time where Gil has to be gets the consequences of Nani's lunch. But it was pretty funny. And then I like the little fish how they're like, that surprised me. And then we have Gil, Molly and Gil segment. Gil's trying to play the trumpet, and at first Gil is playing the trumpet the wrong way. I'm kind of getting vibes from Ducks in a Row when he was playing the trumpet wrong. He was playing it from the outside and not on the place that you actually blow on. And then he was trying to call an elephant, but then Brandon comes along again, blowing it on the correct side, and he comes back saying, my mom said I have to keep practicing. It's funny. And then we have our playtime segment. They're playing in the classroom. Everybody else is dressed up as elephants, with the exception of Dima and Molly. And once again, Mr. Grouper is always playing along with the Guppies games. And I like how at one point Dima says, in beautiful orange color. And then he's like, orange? And of course, like he does, he changes his color. And then Dima's like, gray color. Elephants are gray, of course. And then we have Gil, Una, and Nani playing by this pretend watering hole. And Una saying, I'm gonna drink some water from my trunk. And when I first heard that, I thought that's the norm of elephants, but actually is a common misconception, because Nani says that elephants don't drink water through their trunks. They actually squirt the water with their trunks in their mouths to help them drink, which is what I thought my whole life. I thought elephants had a straw right there, but no, it's actually they squirt it in their mouth. That's what I thought. But yeah, and I like when Mr. Grouper says it's time to go outside. He says, "Okay, my pachyderms," which was really funny. That was really cute. And then we have our storybook segment, the agents and the snuggler, which is getting some vibes from back in season 2 with Gobi and Una. They're the LFBI. I like that. And we also do have Molly in the story reporting how elephants are getting stolen, mostly in Asia and Africa. And the snuggler, she's basically like a cat woman, a cat lady who's actually a cat lady with rolls in her hair, and she's stealing elephants. At first they do tell her that. Also, are we gonna ignore the fact that literally when the snuggler's running from the elephants, Una and Gobi literally get slammed behind her door fence? Like, oh my goodness. And they managed to save her, but at first they say that she's gonna go to jail, but they promised. Well, I don't really know if they promised, but like, I don't want to say they forgot about taking her to jail, but I want to think that they off screen, like, they promised her that she won't go to jail if she helps them bring back all the elephants back to where they belong. And we also get like a little bit of like have to help where certain elephants go. Like smaller elephants go somewhere else, bigger elephants go certain places somewhere else. And then at first everything's good, everything's back where they belong, the elephants. And then the snuggler's crying, and then she says, I wish I had something I can snuggle with. And Una's so sweet. She gives her elephant from the shop segment, which was really sweet. She is a sweetheart. She is a sweetheart. And I like how Gobi at the end, he's like, Ella, fantastic work. At first when I was younger, I thought he said, I love fantastic work. No, when I was older, I managed to find the captions, and he said, I love fantastic work, which I get it now, because it kind of sounds like the word fantastic and the word elephant, so I get it. Then we have our dance song, the elephant dance. It's pretty catchy, like, wave your trunk, let it sway, wave your trunk, it's just a thing. Sorry about the noise. It's really catchy. And then we have Molly and Gil segment once again. Gil has Brandon, who says he's gonna teach him, and then at first he starts off slow, very very softly, and Brandon's so blunt, he keeps on saying louder, and then he blows it so hard to the point where he blows himself away. And then it's finally time for the field trip segment, the elephant trunk-a-dunk. And once again, I love how I talked about a little bit on cheerleaders in my first episode review of the season, and once again we have Molly and Dima as cheerleaders, and my boy Nani as a cheerleader too. Like, you don't know how happy that makes me. You don't know how happy that makes me. Okay? That makes me happy. I'm sorry. I'm sorry about the sirens. I'm sorry. And I like how Brendan's at the game too, and at one point he blows his trumpet so hard he he causes Bubble Puppy, Gil, Una, and Gobi to pass out on the floor. It's really funny. Oh my god. And then we have all different elephants, and then we have a cute little baby elephant. His name is Little Pinnacle, and Nani saying that a baby elephant is called a calf. It's so cute, and he wants to join his mother. Like, there's a scene where he's walking behind her, and then I'm gonna cut the camera off. I'm gonna cut this off real quick until the sirens stop. BRB. Okay, we're back. Sorry about that. It's all over. That's the advantages. That's the sacrifice you have to make for being a city girl. But as I was saying, there's a scene where Pinnacle's trying to run after his mommy before the game starts, and he just he wants to go with her, but she does like a little nuzzling thing with her trunk against her baby. It's so cute. And then like Mr. Grouper saying, I guess the little Pinnacle's gonna have to sit this one out. And I love how Mr. Grouper says, what time is it? And they both say, him and the announcer say, it's time for the trunk-a-donk. And at first, the elephants, 2 other elephants go, but they don't have a good luck at it. But then but then Pinnacle's mommy goes, and then she doesn't make it. And there's only 15 more seconds on the clock. But then it's up to Little Pinnacle, and then he goes over to Gil, making his elephant dreams come true. And he's like, you want me to help you? And then he blows a little bubble heart with his trunk. So adorable. And then they both managed to make the shot. I'm talking about Stephen Curry, Pinnacle. He goes for it. He slam dunked that baby into the net. And they both won. And they both won it for the elephants. And once again with the fantastic game. And he's both hugging the elephant. I hope Bubble Puppy didn't get jealous. Hope not. Just saying. But they both hug each other, and it was so adorable. And ends our field trip segment. Last Molly and Gil segment of the episode. Then Gil saying to Molly that he finally learned how to play the trumpet, and then he blows it correctly without getting blown away, without blowing it the wrong way. And then at first, everything seems good, but then Molly says, Gil, I heard of elephants. And then he thinks that Molly was talking about he hasn't heard of elephants, but he's like, heard of elephants? Of course I've heard of elephants, Molly. And then and I like how Brandon, he takes away his trumpet like, I'm not being a part of this. I wasn't the one who summoned them. I'm getting out of here. And then Molly's like, no, behind you. I heard of elephants. And then all together, all 3 of the elephants, they all blow them away, ending the episode. So overall, this episode was really, really good. And I liked it. I like elephants a lot. So I'm going to give this episode, I am going to give it a 9. I'm going to give it a 9. It was really, really good, and I liked it. It was a really good episode. Now, speaking of good episodes, next episode is actually going to be one of my favorites in this season because, well, I'll go more in depth about it when we get to it. But anyway, tune in to me next time as we'll be reviewing one of my favorites from this season, Season 3, Episode 4, The Super Ballet Bowl. See you all next time.